Okay. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to this information webinar. I don't know, we still have a few people who have registered and will be joining us, but I think it's time, so we should commence. So thank you very much for joining this webinar, and we are happy you are able to join us this time. As we indicated via the advert, the idea is just to provide some more information to potential applicants, just to guide them to enhance the possibility of their chances of being accepted into the program. My name is Emmanuel Abe, and I work with the African Research Universities Alliance as a consultant, and I have some of my colleagues with me online. Professor Jane Ambuko, I don't know if you can unmute and introduce yourself. So Prof. Ambuko is the Director of Research and Training. Please go ahead, Prof, to introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Again, welcome everybody. My name is Jane Ambuko. I'm the Director of Research and Training, and you'll be hearing more from me later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Ambuko. Emmanuel, I don't know if you're online. Are you able to unmute and speak? At least put the video on so that our potential applicant gets to see you. Well, unfortunately, Emmanuel, your audio is not very good. No, it's not very good, but that's fine. So that's Emmanuel Edudan. So he's also a consultant with the next.
You're muted, Emmanuel.
He's not muted. The audio is not very good. The audio is not very good. But I was just introducing Emmanuel that he's also a consultant here at the African Research Universities Alliance. Both Emmanuel and I, we've been here for, I think we are in our 7th year now. We work very closely with the Secretary General of ARUA, that's Professor and John Japon. We work very closely with him. So we have two other program managers, that is Gladys Brew and then Eraba Ado. I'm sure they are online somewhere. They are not showing us. Yeah. They are not showing. Yes, it would be fine if Gladys and Eraba, you introduce yourselves. Okay, so they're not showing as panelists yet, so I don't think they will be able to introduce themselves. So when they come online, then I will introduce them to all of you. So thank you very much once again for joining. So we are the staff behind this early career program.
Sorry, yeah. So Gladys is back in the panelist page. So
okay.
Sorry about that.
All right. So Gladys, you can introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm Gladys Brew, Program Manager at ARUA, and welcome to all of you to our webinar. So in due course, we'll be answering any of your questions you might have about our fellowship program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gladys. Is Eraba online?
Not yet, but she will be joining soon. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Emmanuel. So in the next 90 minutes, what basically we'll be doing is that Professor Ambuko will take you through a series of slides, presentations that she has done, just for you to understand the application process a little bit more. And then we'll have some few minutes for Q&A. Please feel free to, as the presentations go on, please feel free to put your comments in the chat box. Emmanuel and I will be monitoring it, and when we get to the Q&A session, then we'll respond to it. And in addition to the presentation that Professor Ambuko will be doing, Emmanuel will take you through a demo, like just a live demo of how the application process goes on. So please feel free, put questions in the chat box. We'll pick them one after the other and then try and address them. So over to you, Prof. Ambuko. Please, you can go on with the presentation.
Okay, so thank you again, everybody. Can you hear me? I just need to be sure that
yes,
I'm
we can
not
hear you.
muted and speaking to myself. So thank you, everybody. Again, welcome to this information webinar. As my colleague, Dr. Nee, has said, the purpose of this webinar is just to shed some light on the fellowship. A lot of the information is already on the call, they say sometimes when you hear it sticks more than when you read. So we'll be taking you through the content that you've probably seen, so that and then we can answer, most importantly, we can answer your questions at the end of the presentations that I will make. Yeah. So I'm doing this on behalf of the team that has just introduced itself, and of course with the blessings of our boss, Secretary General. So what I'll take you through, first of all, just briefly, because this is not about ARUA generally, but just so you know who's ARUA in a snapshot, the vision and the how we operate under the centers of excellence and the clusters of research excellence, and just as just a mention of our partners. And then we delve deep into the Early Career Research Fellowship, which is the key thing for this webinar. And then we'll have the interactive section where you can ask your questions, and then we'll wrap up the session and tell you how to proceed. So about ARUA, I think I've had many people ask who is ARUA. ARUA is the African Research Universities Alliance, is a network of 23 leading research-intensive universities in Africa. They have a shared vision that seeks to expand and enhance capacity and the quality of research that is carried out by our researchers, the African researchers. So basically, the consortium serves as a catalyst. It serves a catalytic function that supports the member universities to pool their limited resources. And here you're talking about human resources, but also infrastructure. We're talking about labs, equipment, so that they can support the researchers to realize indigenous research excellence. So ARUA was inaugurated in 2015 by the chair of the African Union Commission. And so the agenda that the ARUA drives is actually tied to the bigger picture, which is the African Union Agenda 2063. So the vision of ARUA is basically to enhance the competitiveness of the African researchers and institutions, while they contribute to the agenda of socioeconomic transformation in Africa, again, as envisioned under the Africa Union's Agenda 2063. If you don't know about this Africa Union Agenda 2063, please, as a researcher, please get acquainted with it, know what are the research areas, what are the issues that we need to address to drive the socioeconomic agenda of the continent. So ARUA has 4 strategic pillars, which include the enhanced research, then the research advocacy, and improved graduate training, and then professionalized research management. So under those 4 pillars, our agenda, our research fellowship or early career research fellowship contributes broadly to the others, but mostly to the enhanced research, because we want to enhance or support capacity of our researchers. How does ARUA operate? It operates through centers of excellence. I think you've probably heard about this. What are centers of excellence? These are we call them like focal points where researchers from our member universities aggregate or come together to undertake collaborative research. It could be multidisciplinary, transdisciplinary in priority thematic areas. And these thematic areas, again, aligned to the research agenda of the socioeconomic transformation agenda of the African Union. So the centers of excellence also serve to provide opportunities for graduate training, but also for the early career researchers mentorship, which is why we are tying our program to the centers of excellence. So there's so much unique that I could say about the centers of excellence, but I'll put there the website. Please visit and get acquainted or get to know more about the centers of excellence. Then there's the what you call the Africa-Europe clusters of research excellence. We call them the COREs, which is an initiative, a joint initiative between ARUA and the Guild of European Universities. It is recently launched in 2023 in response to the EU Innovation Agenda. Again, if you search the web, you can get to know what is this EU Innovation Agenda that these calls are contributing to. So it's actually an academic-led partnership that involves institutions in Africa and Europe and beyond. And it has co-leads from ARUA and also from the Guild of Universities. So when you start your application, realize that the co-leads will receive your applications and they can actually choose based on your relevance to what they're doing. Again, if you go to the website that is given there, you can get to read more about the cause that we work with. So back to the centers of excellence, we have 13 centers of excellence, 7 in natural sciences, 6 in natural sciences and 7 in the humanities. So we have centers of excellence in water, energy, NCDs, materials, energy, nanotechnology. So the universities that are put in red, those are, so the centers of excellence operate under what we call the hub and spoke. So the hub is where the center is hosted, but then it has spokes that work with them. So you find that for Rhodes University, it has spokes in the University of Cape Town, Pretoria University, and others. So if you check the website, you'll get to know the Center of Excellence for Water. It is housed at or hosted by Rhodes, which are the spokes. Because when you're a fellow, you can actually be attached to the spokes also that work with the hub, which is highlighted. So we have 6 natural sciences and then 7 in humanities. Again, if you go to the website, you'll get to see these centers of excellence and what they do, their current research focus. And then for the course, I said there are 22 of them, and they're organized in 4 thematic areas. And each of those thematic areas have sub-thematic topics that the cores are working on. So we have the core in public health. It has 9 sub-thematic areas. The one in green transition, the core on green transition, it has 5 sub-thematic areas. The one I've highlighted in red, number 5, is actually new. It may not have a lot of information on the website, but it's new, but upcoming. Under innovation and technology, we have 5. And then under capacities for sciences, we have 3. Again, a lot more about this course and what they're doing can be found on the website. So that is how we operate. Use it through the course and the centers of excellence and then the course. Now for this program, the Early Career Research Program is actually, we have our 2 funding partners. We start with the Carnegie Corporation in New York. Now, this Early Career Research Program is not new to ARUA. It has existed before, supported by the Carnegie Foundation. And so the Carnegie Corporation, is also supporting this phase. So we have MasterCard and Carnegie. So some fellows will be supported by Carnegie. So it's the Carnegie Corporation in New York is registered in the US. It's one of the oldest grant-making foundation and supports program areas in education, democracy, international peace and security, and then in the higher education and research. So they're supporting a few of the fellows will be supported under this program, but then the majority of the fellows that we are rolling out in this phase are supported by the MasterCard Foundation. Again, the MasterCard Foundation is a Canadian charity, a charity registered in Canada and has offices in various countries, including in Rwanda and Kigali, and Accra, Nairobi, Kampala, Lagos, Dakar, and Addis Ababa. Now, among many programs that the MasterCard Foundation is supporting across the continent, the one where we're plugging in is the Young Africa Work Strategy, which seeks to create dignified and fulfilling employment opportunities for young people in Africa, targeting 30 million, and especially women. Okay, so not that highlight, especially women, young women. Okay, so you'll see when you come to the criteria, you'll see why this is important. Okay, so our ECR program seeks to contribute to this vision of the MasterCard Foundation by, supporting capacity or building capacity, strengthening capacity of the next generation of African researchers. Remember the bigger vision of the socioeconomic transformation of Africa. So for us to transform to achieve the socioeconomic agenda for Africa, what capacity do we need in research? What kind of research do we need to address the challenges that are affecting Africa? So that is where MasterCard comes in and where we come in supporting our researchers. So that is about our funders and our partners that are supporting this program. And so we go to the Early Career Research Fellowship, where we are encouraging application. Why are we having this fellowship? Yeah. First of all, we want to, again, I'm repeating this over and again, we want to support or enhance the capacity of the early career researchers at African universities. Yes, to support their research. Yes, so we want to develop their capacity through mentorship, through training, and the research that they conduct. So this fellowship the purpose is to hone your skills as young researchers so that you not only advance your career, but while advancing your career, you're also generating the knowledge, the information, the innovations that are required for the transformation agenda of the African continent. As again, going back to the Agenda 2063. So this fellowship is targeting to build capacity of 150 researchers. It's a 4-year program. The first cohort is already in place. They'll be finishing their fellowship in March. And so we are now scouting for the second cohort of about 42 fellows to fill the second cohort. And then we'll have a third and fourth cohort so that we can build the numbers to 150 young research fellows. How do we implement? The implementation of the fellowship? Again, it is a 6-month program. During your application, you realize that you'll be asked to select the core. I've already highlighted that ARUA operates under Centers of Excellence in course. So you'll select the application form, which will be taken through later. You'll select which Center of Excellence you want to host, which is aligned to your work. Those cores or centers of excellence, the centers of excellence are hosted at an ARUA university. It could be a hub or spoke or partner institution. So you'll check the form. You'll actually click where do you want, which center of excellence aligns with the research that you want to do. Yeah. So during the fellowship, the applicants will be expected to conduct research that is related to the ongoing activities, research, projects at the centers of excellence of the course. So it's very important that you visit the websites of these centers. Of course, if you go to the ARUA website, it will also link you to the centers of excellence course so that you can get the information, so you don't shoot blanks. You don't just throw in an application and think, oh, I want to be hosted at University of Ghana, yet and the Center of Excellence there or the spoke that is hosted by University of Ghana has nothing to do with what you're doing. So it's very important to get to know what are those centers doing so that as you develop your proposal or you prepare your application, it is aligned to what the centers are doing. Okay, so of course, when you go to the centers of excellence, you may also explore. You might go there, you don't have a rigid mind. Yeah, we might go there and find that they're doing something that is related. that is, may not directly speak to what you're doing, but is something of interest to the centers of excellence, and you can contribute to it. So again, when you apply and you go to your selected center of excellence, you'll be guided to probably explore new areas of research that are ongoing at the selected center of excellence. So you work closely with the directors and the leads, the co-leads, so that you advance your objectives, your career objectives and your career growth. So when you talk about fellowship, there's a lot that goes into it. Is mentorship basically. You do some research, you do some other activities that relate, workshops, webinars like this, outreach activities that actually contribute to your career growth. So when you go there, you actually work closely with the director or the co-lead. So what are your roles and responsibilities when you get to your center or your core? Yeah, I repeat this again, you'll be mentored or supported by the Center of Excellence to undertake the research that is relevant to what, to you and what they're doing. You'll be expected to work with your Center of Excellence or your mentor to prepare and publish at least one peer-reviewed journal article, either as a lead author in high impact. I mean, again, we say we don't want you to just say because it's an output that is expected, you publish anywhere. These days, not these days, it's expected that the research you're doing is published in respectable, peer-reviewed journals. Not sometimes we rush to these, we call them the street journals, which are basically money-making businesses for some people, but we need you to publish in a journal that is reputable. But also you can have other research-supported technical publication like policy briefs or blogs on the appropriate platforms of your respective host institution. The other technical publication like position papers, those are outputs that are expected of you as a researcher. Remember, these are not just for the fellowship, but again, as an early career, these are also required for your own career advancement. You need them for promotion and all that. So it's not just for the fellowship, but also for you as an academic or as a researcher who wants to advance in your career. We expect you to present to presentation in a workshop, in a conference, or technical convening with peers. Again, something that is important for yourself, not just for the fellowship, but for yourself as a career, a young academic or a young researcher. Again, we expect you to contribute to dissemination of findings of the core, again, through these kinds of meetings or technical convenings. That is how you help to disseminate findings from your core, because you need to add value. When I host you in my center or at the core, we expect that you also help us to build our profile. So those are the expectations that the centers would expect of you as a fellow in the center. The selection criteria, again, we have said in the core, basically you need to be an African national with a PhD in a discipline or some discipline that is related to the thematic area for the core that you're selecting. So we expect you, if you're working in the area of food and agriculture and what, we expect you probably go to the website, look at which Center of Excellence is related. So your PhD should be aligned to the CO Center of Excellence core that you're applying to. Your PhD should have been completed within within 5 years since you completed. So we don't want a PhD that has been, anyway, naturally you find that it will naturally align. Given the 8 years that we expect it to be not more than 35 years, generally your PhD will actually be within completing, or maybe some people do their PhD at an early age, but our requirement is within 5 years of completing the PhD. This fellowship is aimed at building capacity for members, researchers, faculty members or researchers at an ARUA university, yeah? So eligible candidates from non-members are also encouraged to apply, but we really strongly encourage our members to apply. So it could be faculty or working in a research institution that is within our member universities or within our countries. So you are eligible. So again, when you bring in your application, we vet it accordingly, and we say that, of course, we give opportunity, we open it to non-members, but again, capacity for members. So yeah, but it's open to non-members who strongly qualify or have strong eligibility. Yeah. We also extended to postdoctoral fellows, especially women, could be considered in limited cases, yeah, but young faculty and our members are our target. You should have a track record that is relevant to the opportunity. So again, it is about what have you been doing and how does that relate to the fellowship where you're applying, because in the next slide, I'll talk about the selection is done by the course. So they want to see that you have a track record in the area that you're applying. Yeah, so you can't have been working in let's say in energy or in water, but then you want to jump over to NCDs unless it relates. It is hard to justify why I would host you at my center when you haven't been doing anything that relates to what we're doing. So evidence of a track record in the discipline or in the area or the research area for the Center of Excellence of the core is critical for your selection. Okay. Again, you must be available to spend 6 months away from the home university, and you'll be willing to go back to the home institution. So sometimes somebody will apply and they say, my institution can only release me for 3 months or 2 months. And then it becomes a problem for us when we have given you the opportunity, and then you come and say you can only stay for 3 months. So it's important at the point of application, you know that it's 6 months. And so you get released for 6 months continuously at your center, the university or the host institution. Again, we said overemphasize that you must be working on a research topic that is related to the Center of Excellence. I can't emphasize that anymore. I said it many times. Okay. Now, there's this point that it's eligible women are strongly encouraged to apply. And 70% of the fellowships will be awarded to female candidates. If you remember the slide that I presented about our funding partner for this fellowship, the Mastercard Foundation, they're targeting youth and especially women. Okay, that's why you find that we are very skewed or biased in quotes towards women. So women are strongly encouraged to apply, but of course there's 30% that will go to men. So again, don't blame us. It is the funding. Of course, there are other opportunities out there that also would favor men. But for this particular fellowship, we are really strongly encouraging the women, because 70% of the fellowships will go to women. Remuneration and benefits. So successful candidate will sign a contract with us for 6 months. You get a monthly stipend of $2,000 and an accommodation allowance of $500, a return ticket to and from your home institution. Again, for women, because we know the target women, the women we are targeting in their early years, reproductive age, so maybe have young kids that they need to bring along or live under care of somebody at home as they take the fellowship. So to support the application, there will be an additional support, financial support, about 30% of the stipend, which is $2,000, so that they can make arrangements for them to take up this fellowship. So this is a benefit that to encourage women to apply, especially those who are in there, who need that kind of support. Okay, so your host Center of Excellence of core will provide you with an office space where you can report to. We expect you to, you're a researcher. This time we're taking you away from your home institution, because you see, at home institution, you have to teach, you have to attend these meetings and whatever. So when you bring you out of your home institution, we're giving you space and time outside of the university. You'll be given an office where you can sit and focus on this fellowship, if it's writing or some research. So you'll be given an office space where you can do your what is related to your fellowship for the whole 6 months. So you get an office space at your center. Then the other thing that we support is, present in a conference or a seminar, summit, which is hosted. We are hosted within Africa, an international conference hosted within Africa. So the fellowship, if you submit your abstract, is accepted, you provide that acceptance letter, then we can support you to travel to the country where the conference is being hosted. Fine. So the application process, my colleague is going to take you through the, the step-by-step application process. But just to highlight some of the requirements for this fellowship, first of all, those are already, of course, in the fellowship, if you read the call. First of all, you need a cover letter from yourself. And a cover letter basically is just a document that is a letter that markets you. Yeah, so what is your motivation to apply for this fellowship? That the fact that you're eligible for it, the criteria, you meet the eligibility criteria. Again, a pitch, a little bit, sharing of the experience that you have, your research and research interests, and how they align to the objectives of the center of excellence you select. So we're not asking you to tell us to go and see what the center is doing and copy and paste in your eligibility in your cover letter. But you see, if you're applying in a center of excellence for energy, for example, it's a testament that you have been doing something in energy. Of course, the CV is going to tell us exactly what you've been doing, but you see, pitch is a summary of what you've been doing that relates to your eligibility to fit in the center of excellence for that you're selecting. Okay, and we said we are put this visa requirement there because we need to know from the onset that you need this so that we start preparing for you when you have been selected. Okay. So that's a cover letter. Then you, of course, the CV. A CV is, again, your marketing tool. It's a full CV. Sometimes when we apply for some other things, we ask for your 2-page CV or a brief CV. Here we want a full CV, which actually will tell us what your journey, gives you give personal information, academic qualification, the research you've been doing. Of course, you'll have your 2 referees, not from the COE, but 2 referees, your academic referees from from your networks, could be from your university or the institutions that you've been working with. Yeah. So your full CV, again, is another marketing document that, because when you get this, we share them with the Center of Excellence. They know what is your track record, that what you've been doing and how that supports your application. And then you need a letter of support, from the applicant's institution. So first of all, it not only just indicates your suitability for the position and that you return home and your job will still be waiting for you, but then the letter of support is actually coming from, sometimes, when we're applying for things and you're in a hurry, you go to your head of department and quickly get a letter of support. We need higher support, yeah? Especially if you can get your letter supported from the DVC. The reason you're saying that we need a higher level of support is so that later on we don't have problems that your chair gave you letter of support. Of course, your chair can support your application, but the time you need to be released from the institution, you need release from the DVCs or the vice chancellor. So then it becomes a challenge. So just so that you know, the vice chancellors and deputy vice chancellors are aware. In fact, we've popularized this program through the offices of the vice chancellors and DVC, so they are aware. So when you apply through, of course, you apply through your head of department, but you get your support coming from the vice chancellor, for example, DVC. Then we know that kind of support is coming from a high level, so we have not have problems when we call you for 6 months. Because so I'm emphasizing that so that your letter of support should come from the DVCs, especially if you can get that, so that it's important, so that when the time of release comes, it's easier to be released. If there's a buy-in from the DVCs or the VCs at that level, when the time of release comes, it is not a problem. So please try to get at that level. I know the time can be short, but I know if you're serious, you can get that letter of support, because that gives us more assurance that when the time of release comes, you will be released. Then you need evidence of award of PhD. Of course, this one naturally will be a copy of your PhD certificate. Yeah. But in the past, we've had some applicants who come in with a letter coming from the department saying that, this person has successfully defended a thesis. But you see, your head of department is not the awarding office for, So we have what we call letter of award. Some institutions call them attestation letter, right? I don't know what you call it. That means evidence that you have defended your thesis and you're just waiting for graduation. In some instances, we can consider that coming not from your supervisor or your head of department, but the awarding office. It could be the dean who awards that letter of award. Yes, we could consider in some instances, but the sure bet is a copy of your PhD certificate. Then we need a brief concept note that is sort of like just talking about the research that we intend to do. Basically, sometimes we've gotten proposals, somebody's proposing to do research that needs 5 years. Remember, this fellowship is for 6 months. So whatever you write, because at the end of the day, it should be feasible to be done within the 6 months. Yes, and if you're going to a certain center of excellence, that proposal or concept should actually be aligned to what, the objective of the CEO. That's why I keep on saying, please, if you have, you should visit the center of excellence. If you have targeted a certain center of excellence of core, please visit their website so you get to know what they're doing and so that you align your concept note to what they're doing so that it is easy. Because of course, if you write is aligned, it's very easy to be selected by that center of excellence. And also feasibility. Some proposals, some centers, we send them the application. They say, this person is proposing to do a program that needs 5 years. It needs resources. It needs things that we don't have. Remember, this fellowship is not giving you money for research. It's actually giving you a stipend and support just to work with the Center of Excellence. So please be realistic. What can be achieved within the period and with the resources that are available? Yeah, then you also need 2 academic writings. It could be peer-reviewed article, journal articles. It could be a book chapter, a peer-reviewed conference proceedings and things. So just to show, evidence to show, because when we send your documents to the Centers of Excellence, they look at it. Because remember, one of the things, outputs of this fellowship is you need to have written a paper. If you don't have any track record of any academic writing, it could be, I'm not saying it should be already published, it could be a manuscript that is actually ready for publication. Sometimes you say you sent it, but then it was rejected for one reason or another, but it's a manuscript that shows that you have capacity for technical writing. So that should be submitted alongside your application. Then we've asked for the biodata page of your valid passport. This is because we also want to verify the age and all that, but also it helps us when you're processing your visas. So we don't ask for this information again when we're processing you for you to move, or we're processing your travel documents. Right. And so just the final thing here is we have indicated in the call that we have 2 cohorts. So we have 2 application options. The first option is with the deadline that is coming in a week, next week, Friday. And so we have received a number of applications already. So that fellowship, the first option, the fellowship where the deadline is January 22nd, that fellowship runs from March this year to August. Okay, so you check your availability, check, what is your workload, or what are the chances that you'll be released, and see what works for you. That's why we have these 2 options. The first option, which is quickly coming soon, so you should be able to start your fellowship in March and complete it in August. Then we have the second window. If you realize that you may not be able to do this and join the fellowship in March, we have the second option, which where the deadline for application is 15th of July. Bit of time left for that. And that is the fellowship that will run from September 2026 this year and run through to February 2027. So you have 2 windows of application, but for us, it's fast come. If we can get everybody in the first window, we take them and we close it. So it is up to you. So if we fill the slots in the first window, everybody is available for the first window, we'll take and move. And then those who come later, we can leave you for the third cohort. So just check your schedule and see what works for you of the 2 options. Then to the selection criteria, which is, I think, is my final slide. Again, not criteria, the process, yeah. So basically, the people who select are the directors of the centers of excellence and together with the co-leads of the course. And these, of course, they also do some consultation with the hosts of the centers of excellence, who are the focal persons for ARUA. The selection, again, since it's highly competitive, again, when you send this applications to the centers of excellence, again, because of the competitiveness, your academic standing and relevance to the centers of excellence is very important for your selection. Just to emphasize that the Secretariat doesn't do the selection, we only facilitate the process. We'll receive your applications, we'll do the initial screening for eligibility, and then we forward the applications to the centers of excellence to consider. Then after they've done the consideration, they tell us whom they've selected, and then we give you the award and start processing you for the fellowship. So yeah, so I just wanted to emphasize that we don't do the selection. The selection is actually done by the centers of excellence. So I know you have questions. We said you put them in the chat box. Somebody's compiling them, then we'll answer them. But the next thing we want to do is take you through the process of application by my colleague, Emmanuel Danso, to take you through the application form. I know if you've been to the website, you have seen the fellowship. So that's Dr. Emmanuel will just show you the form and the step-by-step application process. Emmanuel? Dr. Emmanuel Abe, am I good to hand over to Dr. Emmanuel Danso?
Yes, you are good too. But before we do that, I think the Secretary General of ARUA is online. So I think it is right for us to just introduce him, and if he has any few words for us. So Prof. Japon, if you're online, you can speak. Please, this is the time for you to introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm John Japon. I'm the Secretary General of ARUA. I think you've been bombarded with a lot of information already, so I'm not going to add anything except to say that we are here to facilitate your fellowship and your application. So if you have any questions for clarification, do not hesitate to reach out to us even after this webinar, and we'll be very happy to make sure that you have a good experience. We need the next generation of research scientists in the continent, and you need to replace us. So we need you to come on board, acquire the skills, and go help your institution grow. That's all I'll say for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Japon. And I think earlier on when I was doing the introductions, one of our staff was online but couldn't speak. Iraba, is it possible for you to just quickly put the video on for you to introduce yourself? So Iraba and Gladys are the 2 program managers handling this particular fellowship. Iraba, please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. My name is Iraba Do. I'm the program manager for research and research management. I work along with Gladys, who is the program manager for training and research. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I think I should go back. Well, there's another staff. He's not able to join yet. We'll sort it out, and at least you get to know him. His name is Blessed Ashmont. So later on, you get to see him too. So Emmanuel, please go ahead and do the demo.
I'll stop sharing so that Emmanuel can share.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. I hope I am adequately audible.
Yes, it's better.
Please?
It is better.
Thank you. So colleagues, I just quickly take you to the ARUA website. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is. It is. At
Right.
least I can see it quite well.
Okay, thank you. So colleagues, once you open the ARUA website, it's very, very likely you are going to be greeted with the call, which is the first on the page. And this brings you to the call page. And once you click on that banner, there is information about the fellowship, which we have gone through, the option to download and share the PDF. But the application form appears at the bottom of the page. So that is where you should come to once you are ready to submit your application. So basically the title is who you are. It's a drop-down menu. And then your name first and last, your gender, your date of birth, which is selectable. Sometimes people get overwhelmed with this, so you just have to scroll through to the appropriate, or you can also type it into the space there, and then just select the month, and you should be fine. Then below that, we will require you to provide your passport number in the space there. It helps us with quickly collating information about fellows from the Secretariat. It helps us to minimize errors in doing this. So that is why we ask that you put that information there for us. Then sometimes this gets confused. The country of origin, or is it nationality? So the country you are applying from is what we are asking for here. Because we will have information of your nationality in your passport. So just where are you applying? Where are you currently based and applying from? Occasionally, we have had to try to get in touch with fellows very quickly to confirm or validate one or two pieces of information. So we often need your phone number. We would prefer this is a number with WhatsApp. So that it's easier to reach out to you if we need a quick response on some issue. So please, when you are completing this, let's make sure it's a number that has WhatsApp so that we can quickly reach out to you. And then also we want your email address. This is what the system would use for an acknowledgement, and then an alternative email address should that fail. Most people will tend to provide their institutional email address as the first, and then their other email address will follow. We kindly ask that you check. We've had a few instances where people have submitted the application. We are responding and the emails don't go through because they may have made an error or two in typing their email addresses. So we require the two just as redundancy, so that if we really need to reach out to you, it is possible. Then below that, we want to get an indication of when you are requesting to start your fellowship. So as already outlined by the director, the options are there, and we provide another reminder. So it's just about selecting which of the two options you will prefer. For now, if you have submitted an application for one reason or another, you want to change the date, the option, please go ahead and just complete the portal again. We have a very simple way of filtering out double applications. So please don't worry. You don't need to send us an email about this. Once we see the two, we will use the most recent of your application. So please don't worry too much about this. Then beyond that, we want to start getting some information about your interest. So the title of your proposal is something that we ask for. Once you indicate the title of your proposal, then you should also indicate the center of excellence or out of the 13, or the cluster of research excellence out of the 22 that you are interested in. So once you select the center of excellence, we have the list of all our 13 centers of excellence. Please do indicate which one, because that helps us to begin to filter where the applications should go. As the director has already indicated, it's good to familiarize yourself with the kind of work that is really kind of work that the centers are doing related to your specific interest. Same applies with the clusters of excellence. Once you select that, you will see. You will also find that some of our centers of excellence also form part of the clusters of research excellence. So if you've already checked, you will notice that, for example, our Center of Excellence in Sustainable Food Systems does exist in the list of centers of excellence or with the core. So please feel free to select either, based on what you have read about them. Then below that, we ask a question as to whether you are currently working in an area related to the chosen center of excellence or cluster of excellence. This helps the centers of excellence also quickly filter their way through the applications. Some colleagues on the call are already engaged in some work related to some of our centers of excellence. So if you are doing that, it helps your application because it's quicker for them to pick out the application. So we just ask, and if you do, please provide that. Then also, director has already indicated that it's just a 6-month period. You can't do a significant amount of work. And when the center directors are reviewing the applications, they want to get a sense of whether whatever you are engaged in is something that you can finish within the period that we have on the fellowship. So this, again, is just to give them a very quick information about that, whether if your research is related to data, whether you already have that data. You can't be collecting, it's not the kind of fellowship that allows you to be collecting data. So if you've already collected your data, you are just in the process of analyzing the data or finalizing your results and so on and so forth. We want to get a sense if your field of expertise involves that. So if it doesn't relate to your field, you just say no, and it's also perfectly fine. Then we move on to the document. So I think director has adequately explained each of these. All of these are required. It helps in the decision making in working our way through the applications. So you have the opportunity to upload them. Please do not merge all your files into one document and submit and say that, oh, well, but I've submitted, or repetitively submit a single consolidated document in each of the fields. We kindly ask that you take your time and submit them as required, so that it helps on the back end, it helps the directors also. They may be interested in just looking at something specific, and not looking at all your documents. So we want to also reduce the burden of selection, the time involved in going through the applications and selecting. So this allows them to go specifically to what they are interested in and look at. So please just have them as single documents and then upload them as such. You can upload in Word version, in picture format, in PDF, but whichever one works for you is fine. Obviously, PDF is the preferable version. So your CV, your cover letter, your CV, your institutional support letter, the evidence of PhD award, then your concept note. And then we have the academic writing examples director has explained. So we allow you to upload 2 of them. Then the biodata page of a valid passport is provided finally. And then in terms of referees, we allow you to, indicate the names and addresses of your referees. If you have 2 or 3, you can go ahead and select as many as you want. And then you just indicate at the bottom add, and it will allow you to add the second referee. Basically, we are asking for 2 referees for this. Emmanuel, I hand over back to you. I think that is all for now, and then you just submit, and that should be fine. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, colleagues.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Emmanuel, for that. I think we now move to the Q&A section. And we've seen most of you have typed your questions in the comment section, and most of the questions is about the age. And with the permission of Professor Japon, I would like you to comment about the age thing. A lot of the questions about why the 35 and I'm above 35 is a bit discriminatory. Prof, are you able to comment about it?
Yes, I am able to comment about it. The first thing I would say is that unfortunately we cannot change that. Our main funder, as you were told, we have on average about 40 to 42 fellowships per year, and 37 or 38, depending on the year, come from the MasterCard Foundation. And only 5 or so come from the Carnegie Corporation of New York. The MasterCard Foundation funding is very specific. It is to support the youth, and the line that has been drawn is 35. We know that you may have a difficulty with that. I have a difficulty with that as well, but that is what we have signed on. So we unfortunately cannot make any changes to that. So what we have done is that normally, especially for the women, what we do is that the few women who, not a few women, but some of the women who are above 35, we tend to put them on the Carnegie grant because the Carnegie funding has no restriction per se on age. So the clear answer is that we stick to the 35. Especially if you are male, then we don't even consider you for the Carnegie grant at all. So unfortunately, we cannot change the age. We are still discussing with the foundation with the possibility of amending their conditions, but we knew it before we went in for it. So we've signed on that dotted line. So for now, it is not possible to change midstream unless and until the foundation decide to change their policy, which I'm not sure is coming forth very soon. So I know you'll be disappointed, but that is the case. We've had a lot of complaints in the past. Many potential fellows, especially females, have complained that we have been discriminatory. And yes, and I know especially for the ladies who may get into the reproductive cycle, you end up marking time for a year or two, and therefore by the time you finish your PhD, you may be above the 35 bar that has been set for now. But we are not in the position to change it.
Okay.
So Emmanuel, I didn't have very good news for all those questions, but that is the reality of the situation, right?
Yes, Prof. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. There was one more thing I wanted to comment on. occasionally we've had people say, well, what I want to do is not in the COE or the core. So what do I do? What I will suggest that, well, for now, we are working within those areas. But if there is anybody who has any special interest in some particular area which is not covered by the centers of excellence or clusters of research excellence, you can make a special case. We will see if we can find an appropriate supervisor for you in another university. Let's say you were doing something on ballistics, and we are not covering ballistics under our programs. But you are a bright and young person under the age of 35. You have completed your PhD in that area, and you wanted to do some further research. We will explore and see if we can find somebody to help. The goal is to help you hone in on your skills. So, but we believe that if you look at the 22 clusters and the 13 centers together, by and large, it covers many, if not all, the areas of work that you are likely to be working in. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, so please feel free and put your comments in the chat box. We are responding to them. And I don't know, Prof. Mbuku, before we go to the live section to pick questions from people, but where they raise their hand and we ask them to speak, I don't know if there are any questions in the Q&A that you'd like to respond to. There's one at least that I wanted to respond to. So this fellowship is a mobility fellowship. Ideally, we'll expect you to spend time away from your home country so that you have 6 months of dedicated time to do research. So we are not expecting cases where you are probably at the University of Ghana and you want to remain still in the University of Ghana, probably off teaching. Trust me, if you are still in your university, they will still get you to come and teach and do a few things for them. So we want time away from your home university so that you have 6 months of dedicated time to be able to do research. On rare cases, like for people in countries like the South Africa, where we have a lot of our centers of excellence, somebody who is interested in moving from Joburg to Cape Town may be considered. That is fine. So I don't know, Naima, I don't know if I've answered your question. It may be considered.
Emmanuel, I think I will say that it will be considered. Yes.
Right. Okay.
It will be considered because the mobility is from your institution. As we indicated, we don't want you to sit in your institution with this fellowship because you will be distracted. If you are from Rhodes University and you want to work in a center in Stellenbosch and you have a good application, it will be considered.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that, Prof. Prof. Mbuku, I don't know if there are some questions that you would like to respond to before we open the floor for live questions.
I think Prof has covered quite a lot of ground, but I saw one question, somebody saying that they're on a short attachment in a research institution. This is my call, no, not my call, yes, my call. So they are on attachment in a research institution. You see, the attachment, those are not your employer. We remember in the presentation, you say faculty at the university. So the research institution where you're attached to, that is not your employer. So even if they give you a letter, you're not going back there. So it's important that you get released by your university or your host, your employing institution. I think that was specified in the presentation. It is your university that should give you that letter, support letter, because you'll go back. We need to be sure that you're released, you'll go back, you'll still have a job. You know, you can actually come for the fellowship and then you are released by some research institution. I don't know even if they would do that. Then when you go back to university, you're given a letter of absent without permission and you'll be fired, get? So you must get the support from your institution. It's very important. Then somebody is asking, so remember in the presentation, I said the core of the Center of Excellence could be in one university. Let me use, for example, Center of Excellence for food, sustainable food systems. The hub or the Center of Excellence is hosted by University of Pretoria, but it has spokes, University of Ghana, University of Nairobi. So you could be hosted by these others. So you don't have, you see, it's the center, I said the hubs have spokes. So you could be hosted at University of Ghana or whatever. So when your application is sent to the director at University of Pretoria, of course, they'll coordinate looking at among the possible mentors in the spokes, who could be the most suitable mentor for you. And even that mentor could actually come from the spokes, within the, the spokes of the Center of Excellence. But even at the hub, there could be other departments at the hub, which also can provide suitable mentor for you or the area. Like they're not doing that work, but somebody within the hub, because remember the hub is hosted probably by a professor of something, but the university is bigger. It has other departments that might have the competence to supervise your work. So the thing is, make a compelling application. Your center that you apply to will find you a suitable mentor among the spokes or other potential mentors in the hub. I hope I've answered that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any other.
There was one about you potentially contacting your host institutions before doing the application. I don't know if you want to respond to that. Should potential applicants contact host institutions before submitting the applications?
Are we talking about host institution or host mentor?
Mm-hmm.
You see, you could actually, for example, I'm going to University of Pretoria, for example. I already know Professor Son Paul is the director, or he's somebody doing something that I want. You know, it would actually be nice if you go. That's why I say encourage people to go to the website, see what is there, see kind of research that is going on. If you go to this center, you realize there's a professor working on nutrition or something like this, and you think, because it's an ecosystem. Say, I'm making this application. We would encourage that conversation, with the mentor. It's encouraged, yeah. But there's no obligation that because you contacted them, they are obliged to take you. So you say, okay, I already contacted my mentor. It's not your mentor, you're only expressing interest. It's an added advantage. You can imagine if your mentor already accepts you and they're anticipating your coming, it already smoothens the path for you. So when you go, you're already in familiar ground. It's encouraged, but there's no obligation to do that.
Thank you. All right. So I don't know. I think it's about time we allow people to be able to raise their hand and ask some live questions. So if you have a pressing question which we have not yet addressed, please feel free to raise your hand, and Emmanuel will manage this for us. We'll allow you to speak, and please keep the questions very brief so that we'll have some good time to respond to it. And again, I'm cautious about the time left on this webinar, so let's try and make the questions really, really short. So that, and feel free, you can always type them, and then although we are providing live responses, we're also responding to some of the questions in the chat box. So please, so can we have a few people probably raise their hand and ask questions? Emmanuel, is that possible within this webinar?
Yes, absolutely. So once you mention a person's name, I will enable their microphone, then they can speak.
Okay. All right. So feel free to raise your hand if you want to ask any question.
So I see Zikora. Zikora, please,
Zikora.
you can. Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead and ask your question. Zikora, please unmute and ask your question if it's possible. I think Zikora is struggling to unmute.
Okay, so God's time.
God's time.
God's time, we've enabled your microphone.
So God's time, please unmute and ask your question.
All right. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, please. First of all, I would like to thank you so much for the organization and the presenter, our first presenter. You really did a good job. Thank you very much, ma. My name is Godstime Eze from University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Please, my question was somehow omitted when you were responding. I asked if somebody that is going to be 35 in July can actually apply for the second cohort, because I wanted to do the first one, but the time frame and getting the requirements may not really be feasible for the 22nd deadline for the first one. So if by July somebody is going to be 35, is the person qualified to apply? Hello?
Yes, thank you very much, God's time. And Prof. Mbuku, will you respond to this?
Emmanuel, I think you take that question. Take that
Right.
question.
So, God's time, if I were you, I'll still put in the application. As we said earlier on, even though we have the strict age restriction of 35 for the MasterCard, it is possible to at least get some 4 or 5 slots under the candidate for those who are females and above 35 and are eligible. So if I were you, I'll still put in the application and then see what happens out of it. I don't know if that's a good response to your question.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, God's time. Zikora, you've muted now. Can you speak? Yeah, please speak, Zikora. We can hear you now.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon from here. I asked 2 questions, but then I noticed they were not responding to, but let me just ask it now. The first question is, from the advert that I saw earlier, 15 January was the deadline. So I quickly got a support letter from my HOD and submitted. So I've submitted my application already. Now, but the problem here is that I noticed that they said 22nd January from the webinar. I noticed that it's now 22nd January. So now, if I can get a letter from my DVC, can I still resubmit that submit letter, or do I leave the previous submission the way I left it?
Thank you, Zikora. So I think when Emmanuel was doing the presentation, he kind of addressed it. If you have a more, with a letter from the DVC, please put in a new application. We'll sort it out and then take out the old application. So please put in a new application.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll do that. Then the second question is data submission. I had applied last year. They asked for data. Now, the question I asked the person was, how do I submit the data? So the person didn't have the answer. So immediately this webinar came up. I loved it because it will help answer my question. How do we submit a data? Because I've generated data already, which a part of that data is to be published, but it's still under review. It hasn't been published properly yet. So now that data that is unpublished, how do I submit the data and not risk and still protect the data? I don't know. And not risk the thing conflicting, because once you submit to either Springer or Elsevier, they keep asking you, hope this data is not anywhere else, so that there's no conflict anywhere. So my question basically is, how do I, because I know that after this process again, they will ask for the data. And if the paper is not yet published at that time, I may still not be able to submit the data. So how do I submit the data and not risk losing the paper that is already on under review?
Okay.
Sorry, who is asking for the data?
When I don't know, they sent me an email from They sent me an email after I did the submission. They checked everything. They said everything was okay, but that they needed data. You know, part of the requirement is that do you have available data? And I clicked yes, that I have available data. Now my problem is how,
So
because
the Center of Excellence.
I think
Yeah.
this request is coming from the Center of Excellence,
Center of Excellence.
who wants more information to be able to make their
To
selection.
confirm. Yeah.
Yes.
maybe yes. So since that paper is not yet out, because I just submitted it in December, since it's not yet out, and I'm not sure if it will be out by February, but hopefully by March it should be out. But now my problem is, what if they require that data before the paper is out? How do I submit? Or do I submit and hope that it doesn't get out and it does not affect this other one that is on under review?
I think that maybe the issue about submitting data has been presented in a way that shouldn't have been.
Okay.
We want to know whether you have information to be able to do the work that you want to do. So I can understand for data protection purposes, you may not want to be shipping your databases across. I mean, and things like that. So, Emmanuel, I think when such an issue comes up, let's address it backdoor on a case. Right.
Okay, thank you very much. And then the final question that I have, I'm sorry. The final question that I have is there a contact call line or email address that somebody can send some of these issues? Like if this thing comes up again now, who do I call apart from just responding to the email? Is there any customer care line that I can reach out to?
Thank you, Zikora. So there is indeed an email address that you can send the queries to, and I think it is ecr.info@arua.org. Emmanuel will put that in the chat box so that if you have any queries. But this query is not coming from the Secretariat. It is possibly coming from the COE that was evaluating your dossier and they wanted more information.
Exactly, I think so too. Yeah.
So as Prof. Japan has indicated, we'll deal with some of these issues. Yeah. So Prof. Ambuku has. Thank you very much, Zikora. So Prof. Ambuku has indeed shared a slide with the email address that if you want any query or any information, you can reach us on. So it is ecr.info@arua.org. If you have any questions, any queries, you can always reach out to us, and then we'll respond. We'll respond to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I also wanted to make a point about somebody said he was 35 in September, a particular month, and was not too sure whether they were eligible to apply. And I think you've given the right advice that putting the application anyway, and it will be reviewed. And if for any reason you are found not to fit the MasterCard conditions, you could be offered something on the Carnegie Fellowship. The issue is that, I mean, the conditions are the same. So you don't even know, many people don't know whether they are MasterCard or Carnegie. So it's not very, very important. But I thought that until you were 36, if you ask what is your age, you are 35 years old.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is a standard way of communicating. How old are you? I'm 35. If you are not yet 36, you are 35.
Yeah. Yeah. Prof, I think the point is she'll be 36 in July. So by September, she is 36.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Anyway, Emmanuel, can you help? Are there any hands?
Yes, we have Yvette. Yvette, and
please,
then
please unmute and ask. Yeah, please unmute and ask your question. Mokelo, let's allow Yvette to speak first before you.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. I really deeply appreciate this opportunity. So, I had one question as well. I think it follows very much from Emmanuel's concern because I literally just turned 35 in
Yeah.
December and and I want to know that obviously given the fact that I just completed my PhD and I want to, I mean, obviously I looked through the prospectus and everything, and Mauritius and Nigeria as well as London works very well for me and the kind of research that I did as an engineer. So I wanted to find out if we have options to kind of put our preferences into, or it is steadfast. That's what I wanted to ask.
Okay. Thank you very
Well,
much.
before any answer comes, I want to clarify that we are not giving fellowships to go to London.
Yep.
Okay.
Our fellowships are meant to be utilized in Africa.
It's fine. I can live without London.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes,
That's Yvette. Yes. Please go ahead. Yes, and ask.
Yes. Thank you for your presentation. I have my first question is about the certificate or of our PhD, per example. Can we translate it in English or should we maintain it in French for people which from French countries?
You don't need any translation. Just send it as it is.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Also, in my case, for example, I will have 35 in 12 July, and should that apply?
Which
Yes,
12 July?
next
12.
year.
Yes, next July.
This year, July.
Yes, this year, July.
Yes, you are eligible. Apply.
Okay.
Yes.
Also, about the institution, should I choose any institution in Africa I want, or should I focus on the university you share with us?
So in the application, you don't choose a university. What you choose is either a center of excellence or a cluster of research excellence. So you choose the research area, and then you don't really choose a university when you're in the application. You don't. What you choose is a center of excellence or a cluster of research excellence. And our directors from the centers of excellence and the clusters of excellence will make that suggestion to you about where you could possibly. So that discussion will be had on a case-by-case basis. So you don't choose the university you are going to. Thank you. Are there any more hands, Emmanuel?
Okay, I was asking if the Center of Excellence should be a member of ARUA.
Yes. So we have 13 centers of excellence hosted. So all our centers of excellence are in our member universities.
Okay.
The key thing is you choose the center of excellence, and the center director can either host you in the hub university, which were listed on the slides that Professor Buku shows, or there's a possibility of you ending up in a spoke university. The most important thing is the particular center of excellence that you are choosing. You don't choose any university.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Emmanuel, are there any more hands?
Yes, we have Victoria, whose hand is up. Victoria, please, your microphone has been enabled. Yeah.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good
Can I be heard?
afternoon. Yes,
yes.
Sorry, I have missed the entire presentation, but I have teaching responsibilities. I apologize for that. So maybe I may be asking a question that has already been asked, but I wanted to find out about the age limit that was advertised, which makes a candidate eligible or not. And I realized that it says that the candidate should not be above 35 at the time of application. So if you have a very brilliant idea, you have the energy to do the research, and you're a little bit over 35, should you not put in an application? Is that one of the most stringent eligibility criteria, or it can be waived based on the project the candidate has proposed?
We've addressed this issue already.
I missed it. I was aware. I apologize.
Anyway, the webinar will be posted online for you to go back and review. But
Fantastic.
the simple answer is that we are bound by regulations from the funders, and we are unable to change things that much. So when you say a little bit above 35, I don't know what is a little bit above 35.
I know, relatively a year or two.
So yes, I indicated that we have two funding sources.
Yes, please.
The MasterCard Foundation, which has most of the fellowships, has the age limit of 35.
Okay.
The Carnegie Corporation has just a few slots where we consider people who are a little bit above 35. And as you can imagine, that is very, very competitive. So, so just throw your what do you call it, your proposal in there for it to be considered.
Okay. Thank you very much. I won't disqualify myself then. I'll put in the proposal anyways then.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I think we have some more time for at least one more question.
I see Mokelo wants to come back. Mokelo, is that the case?
I think it's an old hand. Is it an old hand?
No, this is a new hand.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a new hand. So
Please go ahead.
I just listened to Victoria talk about the concerns around the age. And I think, in as much as I don't want to be a very difficult applicant or or somebody that is very passionate about research in a manner that is dissuading you from the mandate, I think it's very pertinent that you should look at the age restriction within the confines of not all of us got into academia or research space at the same time. And it's almost disheartening to know the fact that as a 35-year-old or a 36-year-old, you are disqualified from an opportunity based off of the fact that you did not enter the space at a time that was palatable for everyone to consider you youth. That is the first point.
We do appreciate. We really, really do appreciate your concern. But as
that is the first point. That is
over
the
and
first
over
point.
again, we are bound by some regulations, and we are
Thank you so much.
modifying
Thank you
that.
so much, John. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate that. My last point is the fact that some of the work that some of us have actually endeavored on is really, really incredible work. I don't want to raise myself to a position of magnitude, but just listening to everyone speak, I can hear that we are all endeavoring on really, really beautiful projects. So if we discredit projects based off of age and we don't consider impact, is it really a fair trade? That is my last question.
Again, my answer will be the same. There are many opportunities that do exist on the continent. And even within this portfolio, I've indicated that we have a few slots for fellowships that are not age-bound. So in as much as I do appreciate your concern, which has been expressed by many people, unfortunately, we are unable to change the rules. We went to look for funding, and the funding was available from a portfolio for the youth empowerment. And the funding agency says, we are able to engage you if you will stick to the 35 years old. Do we say no? We don't say no. We say yes, and then look for fellowships for other people who may be above the 35 that has been set. So I do appreciate that. I've always given many examples where, as an academic, I have a wife who is also an academic, and my wife finished her PhD at the age of 36. So if my wife were applying now, she would not be eligible. So I really appreciate where you are coming from. And we have indicated this 1,001 times. However, the fellowship has a condition which we have accepted. We are still negotiating, but as we speak now, the conditions remain the same. That is not to say your work is not relevant, or your work is not impactful, or we are considering age above impact. No, that is not it at all. There is a portfolio that we are using, and this is the case. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prof. Japon, for that response. And I think it's about time we bring this webinar to a close. We've done the 90 minutes that we promised. Even though we are bringing the webinar to a close, we still encourage you, if you have any questions, please do feel free to reach out to us, ecr.info@arua.org. Please do send us an email, and please do put in an application, because we have a coming deadline next week. So if you want to be considered for the March intake. Otherwise, you can still take your time and then do your application, and then submit the applications for a second intake in September. On that note, I don't know whether there are any closing remarks from Prof. Japon or Professor Mbuku. Are there any closing remarks before we bring this webinar to an end?
I think I've spoken enough, and my voice may not be very popular now, because the big issue is the age, and we are not able to change the age.
Yeah.
So yes, I believe that there are a lot of scientists out there, young ones, who want to impact the world. And we want you to come and replace us. So put in an application, and let's hope for the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prof. Japon. Prof. Mbuku, are there any last words from you?
No, I think everything has been said. I've just shared the the slide again with the contact information. Again, as Prof has said, that put in your application. You lose nothing. I mean, those who are saying the age thing, put it, or you never know. Yeah, it is competitive. There's also those opportunities for people who don't meet the Mastercard Foundation criteria. So just put in your application, and you try. I'm not saying that you're short, but put in your application. So we look forward. You remember the deadlines. Those who are hoping to join the first cohort, look at because at the end of the day, you need to be released by institution. Check and get in your application by the close of the we're talking about next week, Friday. But most importantly, as I said, prepare a winning or a compelling concept note, because that is what will determine whether the center will choose you or not. So check the website, be familiar with what is happening, so that whatever your application there you put in as a concept note aligns to where you really want to spend your fellowship. Otherwise, thank you very much for sparing time to listen to us, and we hope we've been able to help you answer the questions that you had, so that you can make a compelling or a winning application. All the best, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Mbuk. And for those of you joining late, Emmanuel has shared a link in the chat box where you could watch a recording of this webinar on YouTube. So please do look out for that particular link and then do watch it if you have any pressing issues. On that note, I'd like to bring this webinar to an end, and thank you very much for attending this particular, and we look forward to receiving your applications. All the best.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.